I feel like post Elbaf Zoro needs to be like minimum stronger than Fujitora. Like
What?
minimum. Yeah, I do think so. I don't think he's there yet, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like he has to get to another level this arc.
Post Elbaf?
If Zoro is ever going to fight Fujitora, he's going to be weaker than Fujitora when they start the fight.
Like, how slow are we gonna stall the story? Because it's like,
I mean, it's not necessarily stalling the story. It's about where Zoro's gonna lie at the end game, and I don't know if Zoro's gonna be lying. Like, I would say that he'd probably be as strong as Fujitora going into the Mihawk fight. That's what I'd probably say. I don't think he's gonna be stronger than Fujitora by then Elbaf. So, I mean, personally, I'd argue that he'd probably be. Oh, shit, dude. He'd be at Admiral level by the time he's ready to fight against Mihawk. That's what I would say.
Mihawk downplay, bro.
So
it's so
depends
funny.
on where you have Fujitora and where you have Mihawk. But if you have them,
Cole has them equal.
I have Fujitora. No, I have Fujitora weaker than Mihawk. So if he's gonna be stronger than, but like I said before, normally for most of the characters, when they fight against another character, they tend to be weaker than them. Like Zoro tends to be weaker. Zoro tends to be weaker than the guys he fights against until he gets a power up in the middle of the arc or in the middle of the fight.
Yeah,
Luffy's the same way. So
yeah.
So if Luffy's gonna be, yeah.
Zoro just has a habit of, I need to do something to beat this guy. I need to learn arm hockey to cut steel so I can beat Dazbones.
Correct.
I need flying slashes so that I can beat Ohm because he's way too fast.
I mean,
Correct.
I agree that Zoro's going to be weaker than Mihawk going into the fight, but I still think he's going to be like stronger than Fujitora going into the fight because Mihawk's way stronger than Fujitora.
Sure, he can be just as strong or stronger. I mean, I don't know if he's way stronger than Fujitora. Mihawk has to prove that. But I mean, and also Fujitora, we haven't seen him go all out either. So I think we've only seen two admirals go all out so far in the story, and off screen.
I would.
And then they have, and then they have abilities that counter each other with Kainu and Kuzan. And what they did was fucking insane. One island is permanently magma and volcanoes. The other part of the island is permanently ice melted and blizzards. You have glaciers in the area. You have an ocean on fire permanently. And Fujitora should be at least maybe as good as them in the pre-time skip. If they're maybe, I'm not sure. So so
say the OG3 are above the new 2 for sure.
But I don't know about how. Like I don't know by like what metric though. Like I would say that Kizaru is probably like I would say that Fujitora is weaker than Kizaru, but not by that much at all. Right? Not by much at all. I
think there has to be a gap between Fuji and Akainu, only because if we go by the metrics of the show, if we go by the metrics of how power in this universe actually works, there's no way, there's not a chance in hell that you could have a fight between Akainu and Aokiji the way it's presented to us, and both of them didn't hockey bloom each other during those 10 days. It's just not possible that didn't happen. No idea. But like the idea is that like you said no idea, but it's just not possible that it didn't happen. It's just not possible.
I'm talking about in the pre-time skip. Like if you take pre-time skip Kainu versus current Fujitora, I don't know if the gap is that substantial. I would say, now that's probably a bigger gap because he's Fleet Admiral, obviously. But I don't know about pre-times of Kainu versus Fujitora. Like I would say, because I don't see a gap really at all between Akainu, Fujitora. I mean, Akainu, Kuzan, and Kizaru. I think Kizaru now is very comparable to Aokiji and Akainu in the pre-time skip. I mean, I don't see why you got any like he's probably either the same power level or a bit stronger. That's my guess here.
It's mad.
He's not that far from
Cole. Like if you compare Marineford admirals to the current admirals, like Akainu and Aokiji would be like 88. Kizaru would be like an 87, where I think Fuji and Green Bull would be like 84s or 85s. There's a gap.
But why do you think there's a gap? Like what's your evidence for the gap?
It's the statement by who was it at the Marine headquarters? Or it was one of the elders. Like they straight up said, after all, he is the strongest man in the Marine headquarters, Admiral Pheasant Blue. The elders held Aokiji as the strongest admiral.
Okay, well, hold on. But that's offset by the idea that you have Robin mentioned that they're the 3 greatest military powers.
Robin is saying the admirals are the strongest fighting force of the Marines. That statement is true. The elders are saying that amongst the 3 admirals, Aokiji is the strongest. Both statements can be true.
You know what? Let's say that's right. Let's take at face value. Maybe that's right. That still doesn't offset the idea that number one, he's still countered by Kainu's powers because he's magma, and then ice is ice, or chill is chill. And then also, that doesn't change the fact that we're talking about Fujitora, and we're talking about relative to admirals of old. What? Because what we're talking about here is that in terms of the counterplay, you can argue that Akainu is going to beat Greenbow because, again, Greenbow's wood and he's magma. Fair enough, fine. Kuzan's a bit different there, you can argue. But in terms of Fujitora, if he's going to, the only thing that he doesn't have toward the other admirals would be tenure as a Marine. That's really it.
Another thing that would change everything is if any of these admirals, or all of them, have awakening and they haven't used it yet, then they all go up higher. Every single one of them goes up higher.
You could argue we see that with Akainu and Aokiji in their fight, as a result of Punk Hazard. You can argue that.
We haven't seen how
in
that
the surrounding
makes a difference
sea.
in combat, like on screen, like against the top tier. We haven't seen we've never seen them do that supposedly against Whitebeard or whatever. We didn't see that.
Right. Fair enough. But what I'm saying is that Fujitora would be able, not to the same extent, but he wouldn't be that far behind from what we saw from Punk Hazard, essentially. We have seen Fujitora fight. We have seen Mihawk fight. I don't think it's crazy to say that Zoro would be he has to be at least as strong as Fujitora go into the Mihawk fight. I don't think that's crazy to say that. Because an Admiral, whether it be Fujitora, whether it be Kizaru, whether it be in the pre-time skip, Kuzan, Aokiji, or Kainu, that level of power is insane.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree that he has to be a minimum of Fujitora level to go into the fight with Mihawk, but I do think he'll probably be potentially stronger, but it also just depends because, like you said, with Fujitora, we haven't seen his full ceiling yet. Where I personally have him right now, though, I think Zoro will be equal to that or possibly greater by the end of the, or like, I think Mihawk,
that's something that we have to like kind of gauge too. Like, I don't know how, like,
until we see them go all out though, it's hard to say exactly.
Okay,
I do have an idea.
Do you think that Zoro can do something that's stronger than what we saw Loki do in this chapter come the end of Elbaf?
I'd argue he already can. The problem is intensity.
Yeah,
this is Loki just swinging. This is Loki just swinging the hammer and things happening. He's not really putting in any effort. If Zoro put in,
no effort. What do you mean? That's a lot of effort. Effort.
He's just swinging the hammer. He's not going to like collapse after this unless it's purely from the injuries that he's already sustained from Shamrock. I think Zoro, if he put all of his strength into a single like Ashura, he could probably do something that matches this, but that'd be the only thing he could do. He'd collapse afterwards.
I would say AP wise, yeah, but DC not necessarily.
It's not just can you make an attack as strong as something. It's can you do it consistently.
Okay, no, because
this is just Loki swinging a hammer.
No, because right now there are no admirals in the arc so far, as you know, nor coming. So we need to have a way of gauging how Zoro is going to be relative to an admiral come the end of this arc. He's probably
he's probably going to fight Summers.
Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea how strong Summers is to begin with. I have no idea. Summers has to do shit first.
Zoro to let you know.
I mean, fair enough, but the idea is simple though. We don't know how strong Summers is compared to other admirals. All I'm simply saying is that, like, if you want the closest equivalent to an admiral in this arc, it'd probably be Loki. Yeah, honestly,
sure. In the past, I had Loki right directly below Fujitora, like going into the early part of the arc. But then after he kept getting glazed over and over, and we saw like somebody that looks exactly like him in the mural, like in an alliance with Luffy and stuff, I was like, yeah, no, he's way too important, and he keeps getting glazed. So now I have him honestly like low Yonka level. Like right now, he's got to prove that he's higher. But if he has this hammer, and he has a double fruit, and he has hockey, and he has all this other stuff, and he's nerfed and all this, yeah, no, I think he's above Fujitora right now for me personally.
Like, there are things about Loki right now where it's like, okay, you can kind of see why he's such a damn terror, because Loki, with his hammer alone, not his powers, with his hammer alone, he's an effective force of nature like we have seen in a very, very long time. Outside, let's say maybe Big Mom and Kaido and, you know, other people like that. But at the same time, if you're saying that he's going to be Zoro is going to be stronger than an admiral come the end of this arc, you could argue that's like maybe comparable to, I mean, shit, is that because we just saw Luffy versus Kizaru in the last arc. So would Zoro be just as strong as Luffy come the end of Egghead Island at the end of Elbaf, who could be maybe comparable to Loki now? That is a pretty, Zoro has to do a lot, dude. He has to do, like, he just can't beat Summers unless Summers is state to be equivalent to Green Bull and Fujitora. He has to do a lot to say that you're on like equal footing with Luffy come the end of Egghead Island.
Here's your something that you're overlooking. I think you're downplaying Kizaru, and this is coming from me of all people. Luffy needed Gear 5 to beat Kizaru. I think Oda depicted it very weirdly. I'll always keep saying that. You know how I feel about that. But before he went Gear 5, it didn't seem like Gear 4 could do anything to Luffy.
So, you mean Kizaru?
Or
but,
Kizaru,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
And if I'm being completely honest, and Zoro fans can cry all they want, I think Zoro still loses to Gear 4 Luffy going all out.
So
he does.
So and Kizaru was walling Gear 4 easily. It wasn't until Gear 5 that Kizaru was in trouble.
Here's the thing about that fight though. So like I can
Kizaru
argue
was fucking around before he transformed.
But I can argue both sides because it's like I don't know if Luffy using Gear 5 in of itself is a signifier of how if he's going all out or not, because he used Gear 5 against a random snake inside the castle when he fought against one of Rhodes' random henchmen. He used Gear 5 against that dude. It's
that wasn't the point I was making. The point I was making is that Luffy turned into Gear 5 because I think he needed Gear 5 to beat Kizaru. Whereas Zoro, I think, still loses to Gear 4.
Wow.
Okay.
Luffy doesn't need Gear 5 to beat Zoro.
Sure, I'm fine, but okay, maybe. But what I'm saying here is that, like, all I'm asking is that are we gonna see Zoro be on the same level as Gear 5 at the end of Island, at the end of Elbaf?
No.
Using your thing, I can't say that Mysticus is right, where he's gonna be stronger than Fujitora.
I think Kizaru is a lot stronger than Fujitora personally, but yeah.
A lot stronger than Fujitora? I think damn.
Like, here's the thing, right? Like with Luffy too, that people don't understand with Luffy. There's a lot of things people don't understand. And even with like when he went Gear 5 the first time, right? He was holding back. He wasn't going all out. They were both holding back. He was playing keep away. Kizaru was focused on Vegapunk. Luffy was just trying to keep him away. He threw him instead of slamming him or doing anything to cause damage, which he could have done, but he chose not to. And then later he grabs him again, and this time he's not playing around, and we see what happens when he's actually not messing around, and then he squeezes them and actually causes damage. So like there's a difference between when Luffy's like messing around and playing keep away or when he's like actually serious. So they were both handicapped in that scenario, and people don't really get that.
But mind you, it's not just Kizaru too, it's also Jay Garcia Saturn. So it's not just like Luffy's going, he's fighting against two individuals that are very, very top end.
I think the point that Mysticus is trying to make that I think you're not thinking of, Cole, is that it's Gear 5 is just way stronger than Kizaru. At the end of the day, it's like we see it sure as day. One White Star gun put Kizaru on his ass.
No, all I'm simply saying is that Kizaru, you could argue that Kizaru wasn't going all out for various reasons. His uncertain justice, his friend was on the line with Vegapunk. Oda did confirm that he did get the food for Luffy. But even still, I'm not saying that Kizaru is like, let's say, going at 30% power. I'm not saying that. All I'm simply saying is that you can argue that there was in that first stretch before Luffy goes Gear 5 again, you can argue that both Kizaru and Luffy are at their max powers. Fair enough, fine. That's what I'm saying. But to say that Zoro can be on a comparable level at the end of Elbaf, I think he has to do a tremendous amount of work to be compared to that Luffy come the end of Elbaf, and just beating Summers ain't enough.
Here's your problem, Cole. You think Kizaru and Luffy are still close?
I think he's stronger than Kizaru no matter what, but I think that like the gap at the beginning of Egghead versus at the end of Egghead, I think it's different. Because Oda says himself that he likes to nerf the characters at the beginning of arcs, right?
You gotta stop this thing where every arc a character is like a tier lower than they should be, and at the end of the arc they're a tier higher.
No. If the character gets stronger over the course of the arc, then you have to raise their level. Obviously, dude.
You know what Kizaru and Luffy was, and why people don't understand this? It's the exact same thing we got in Wano. It's the reverse of Kaido versus Luffy before Gear 5. Luffy was putting in work with Kaido, but at the end of the day, when Kaido got serious and was done fucking around, Luffy was dead.
It's not about Luffy. It's about Zoro. Zoro, my guy. Zoro. No. The question is ultimately not if Luffy and Kizaru. The question is, because however you view the fight against Luffy and so on with Kizaru and whatever, if you think it's like a gigawash, fine. But The idea is that Kizaru and Luffy were trading blows, and Kizaru and Luffy was at points it was relatively even. Though you could argue that Kizaru was holding back, but you can say the same thing for Luffy too. Fine. What I'm asking though is that ultimately in that power pool, would you have Zoro there at the end of Elbaf? Myth is saying yes, he would be there at the end of Elbaf. He would be stronger than Fujitora at the end of Elbaf. I'm saying he has to do a ton of work to be on that level come the end of Elbaf.
I have Fujitora under Kizaru by a good amount, but yeah.
But I don't understand why you have that either. So like on a scale, let's say 1 to 10, if Kizaru is a 9, what's Fujitora then?
7.
A 7. Wait, hold on. Okay, so
he was getting pushed by New Devil Fruit Ace.
Like a
Sabo.
8 or a 7-ish.
He was
getting.
What are you talking about?
Because
the
this is the
meteors are not
same
Fujitora level.
Because this is the same Fujitora that because he wasn't dropping meteors in Reverie, all of a sudden he's weaker than the fucking revolutionaries, according to Cole.
No.
Oh
What?
shit!
No.
He got you on that one.
No.
This whole Sabo and a good men shit.
Sabo.
When we know 100% now, it's because Fuji fought Sabo,
Sabo, bro.
didn't fight Fuji.
Sabo. I have Sabo. I have Sabo. Oh, no. I have Sabo extraordinarily high. All right. Sabo is the truth. Okay. Wait. But that doesn't mean. Well, I have Sabo stronger than every Straw Hat but Luffy. Like literally. Okay.
Sure.
I have. Okay. Hold on. So Sabo being stronger than Fujitora is fine. I'm not saying that Karasu or Limburg or Morley are stronger than Fujitora, dude. Hell no. You crazy? Fuck that. That's insane. But Sabo? Hell yeah. Absolute.
It would make sense.
But you rode that
Sabo is the only nigga so far to press all the elders and Emu. Nah. I don't want your shit. I don't want your shit.
Here's the thing. People need to realize.
To be fair.
Do they transform? Why they transform? Because they got pressed.
Right.
Exactly.
Here's get pressed, dude.
Why they transform then?
Press would mean because.
Why they transform? No. Why they?
Because Oda wanted to be dramatic.
They got pressed.
No, because again, Cole. Pressed by what?
Pressed.
Sabo was just standing there. He didn't attack.
They got pressed by a fire fist and a rook check. What you mean?
Yeah.
Stop.
He stood there. They transformed. Then he threw fire, and then he got his ass almost killed.
Emu didn't sit on his chair, arms folded, comfortable, like, hey, not bad, but go kill him, boys. No, Emu's like, who is this one? Nom, transform, giant Umibozu form, all elders transform, power match energy. And then Sabo's the one hat tilted like, damn, hell's up here, and has to leave. If not for the fact that he had a carry King Cobra, he would have been fine. He would have marked on his ass out of there. End of story. All right, well, Sabo, but being weaker than Sabo by no measure is weak. I think that Sabo is probably just as strong as Kizaru or Kuzan. What do you mean?
I have Sabo right above Fujitora and Green Bull right now. I don't have him above Kizaru yet, but I think the next time he shows up, he's gonna have some big gains, some big feats, because like people need to take something into account. That, for example, for one thing, Kobe trains every day. What did Kobe do? We already saw what he does. We know Sabo.
All right, why we bring up Kobe right now?
All right, so let's not bring up Kobe right now. This is some crazy agenda you're trying to throw it on the side for some reason.
Kobe?
No, I'm just saying that they train every day, and Sabo
trying to sneak Kobe in like out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know, Kobe. Where Kobe? How did homeboy Kobe get in here? What?
We're having enough chaos talking about Zoro, Luffy, Kaido, Kizaru, and Sabo. We don't need Kobe in this.
No,
we're talking about practice.
Practice? Talking about Kobe?
Practice.
Kobe.
You didn't let me finish.
Practice.
Nah, I was just making an example that people train, and like we've seen the result of that. So we know Sabo also trains every day, just like him. So therefore, he's also growing off screen. I'm saying Sabo's growing off screen. But yeah.
Well, yeah, true. But hold on. Here's the thing, though, right? It's like Oda himself has noted this in Q&As where Sabo is training on a regular basis with his power, and we see him train before Baltigo gets raided by the B Pirates. So Sabo's growth rate is going to be insane. Like Sabo just got his Duffy power and was fighting on par Fujitora. You could argue maybe he's weaker than Fujitora at that point in time, fair and fine. But he's gotten so much strong over the course of time, even confirmed by Ichiro Oda himself, that okay, Sabo has to be viewed differently now. And I don't think that Sabo's gonna be the same dude that you saw on Dressrosa, where he's gonna have. In fact, we already kind of saw where he's gotten way more power, way more skill with his powers. So, like to me, Sabo, Fujitora be weaker than Sabo is fine. That's okay. That's fine. The same thing goes for Dragon too, and all those guys. They already said before too that the Holy Knight's gonna be trying to target Sabo, particularly because what happened at the Holy Land. So, however strong these Holy Knights are, keep in mind that relative to Sabo, they're gonna be hunting his ass down probably first and foremost. Let's say after all this bullshit, right? That's the idea. That Sabo is like target, like prime target, like numero uno on their hit list. So all I'm saying is that if Fuji's weaker than Sabo, that's fine. It has no bearing on Zoro being strong than Fujitora come the end of Elbaf or on that Luffy level at the Egg Island. That's what Zoro has to do, a metric ton of work. I would say that, let's say in the second to last arc or third arc, like whatever arc is gonna be before Mihawk versus Zoro, then you can be stronger than Fujitora or at that level. But not
the level of y'all glazing is astronomical at this point. So y'all, King, let me ask you something real simple. If Fujitora puts up his sword in front of goddamn his face, and he takes a swing at Zoro, right? All this hockey on it. Are you telling me that Fujitora is just plain armament hockey is stronger than Zoro if he turn on Ashura or King of Hell and he try to cut through it like he cut through King and Pika's sword?
Why the fuck would he do that? Wait, what the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened?
No. I sat up here and I listened to all y'all stuff. Just answer the question.
I don't know. Probably not.
Lucci wouldn't block it like that. He'd probably just use his gravity.
No. That's what I'm saying. It's like, he has a whole gravity power, my G.
I get that. That's why I'm saying if these boys clash, what would happen? Would Zoro's swords get cut through, or Fujitora's swords get cut through? Or
none. They'd probably clash, and then they'd probably force back or some shit. What do you mean?
They'd probably clash until someone did something extra.
But again, I don't think to block Zoro with his nails, with hockey nails.
Yeah,
So.
Lucci, dude.
Yeah, we've seen Lucci. At the very least, we've seen Sanji is like nearing the realm of the admirals where he can like keep up. Because he's able to dodge
Fujitora
also was able to dodge Kizaru barely.
Fujitora also
barely. You mean when Kizaru
almost shot him and killed him with a beam of light? Yes.
You mean when the same Sanji that literally speed blitz past everybody, grab Edison, hop down on the goddamn ground, start walking, then that same beam of light that was already in the air when Sanji, before he moved, literally just hit the ground afterwards? That barely? Come on, bro. You gotta stop this.
Hold on, wait, time out. Time out.
Yeah,
wait, hold on.
Did not happen.
Dude, if Zoro couldn't even put down Lucci and Luffy stunted on him like a motherfucker, how is Zoro going to be on that level at the end of Elbaf, bro?
He gave Lucci some pretty gnarly scars. Like,
if you can be,
I would say,
Cole, you can be above. You can be above Fuji and below Luffy at the same time, you know?
Wait, time out. No. Fujitora is having no issues putting down Rob Lucci. Fuck, zero.
What's happening?
No.
Zero.
Zoro versus Lucci.
Really? The same
What do you mean, really? What? Oh my God. What do you mean, really? That's not even a question.
This is why y'all gotta stop. Y'all realize y'all telling me.
Actually, I'm sorry, wait, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Cole, Lucci versus Fuji right now. Obviously, we're all saying Fuji wins. What is the difficulty of Lucci versus Fuji?
Mid-high, max.
Wow.
All right, and then it's not as great. I was gonna say that I think Fuji's probably right. I was gonna say Fuji and Greenbow probably mid-diff Lucci.
Mid-high match, what I'm saying, bro. But Zoro didn't even take care of Lucci.
What?
Because he's an idiot.
Like Zoro clearly wasn't going all out.
Zoro could have killed Lucci.
And he went King of Hell. He went King of Hell.
But he wasn't using 3 swords.
I don't know
The
though.
man used 2 swords and packed them up.
Come on,
King,
man. He had the fire and everything on his
can't-
sword, bro.
But King, you can't do that because what did we learn when Zoro's out there fighting them cat brothers?
Look,
Zoro
like,
fought them
until
cat brothers.
hold on,
The
no,
more swords
but
he
like,
got, the stronger he is.
wait. But we can't give Zoro like new powers. Like until Oda says, hey, like the fire that's on his sword is not him going max power King of Hell, then we can't say that's not the case.
I'm not saying it's not him going next power. His max power is 3 swords, King of Hell, but he was only using 2.
But we gotta do the same thing for the Admiral.
No. He had 3 swords. He had all 3 swords. Like there's a panel of him with King of Hell, all 3 swords, Haki on his swords, and Rob Lucci with his armor Haki hardened nails, that kind of bullshit, awakening form. That panel's real. So at some point they were going at max power, and then Zoro decided not to use King of Hell at some point, and then he did the whole like cat lion bullshit thing, and then Lucci just stood tall. Rah! And then he's like, no, G-Man, it's not done yet. And then G-Man's like, nah, it's over, fuck off. And then we have to leave. So I was like, that literally happened. I was telling you. I was like, Fujitora would literally do in Gravito, Tiger, Reverse, Mountain, fucking Majora's Mask, Moon bullshit. And it's like, yeah, Lucci, stand down. It's over. Like, no.
Really?
No.
So I just want to know, at what point y'all gonna stop handing the admirals all this extra power from what we actually seen them do? Because the only thing I've just heard from everybody literally was Fujitora and Green Bull, Kizaru, all these people up on this certain high level. From what we seen, these people are on par with the commanders.
Okay. Do you think that Zoro is going to be stronger than?
Yes.
Wait. Do you think he's going to be stronger? Wait. I had it. Do you think that he's going to be stronger than Hachinoso Garp coming in Elbaf?
Yeah, he's stronger than
I
that.
have Hachinoso Garp.
He's stronger than Garp now?
Yes.
No, absolutely not. I have
Yes.
Hachinoso Garp.
What the fuck?
Absolutely fucking not.
No.
I have Hachinosu Garp over. I have Garp over Sabo right now, so no.
Yeah, me too. No.
I seen.
I have that guy like potentially over Luffy right now.
How about that now? Luffy's just crazy.
Hold up, 78-year-old Garp. No, I have him over Sabo. I have him over Fujitora. All of them, yeah, for sure.
Garp was able to match out Kichi.
And
No, you mean the same Aokiji that got speed blitzed by Garp and threw in a goddamn hole? Yeah, that one. Okay, but cool. And guess what else happened? Guess what else happened? He got up afterwards. Yeah, they kept fighting afterwards.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Yeah. He had the
upper hand. What's wrong about that?
Aokiji's crazy.
Yeah, we saw Aokiji defeat, what was it, 4 of White
Zoro stronger than Garp now is crazy.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right?
So who he beat? The bottom tier of the people? Vasco
They're
Shot?
commanders.
Bruh, listen to what you just said. They're commanders. You mean to tell me the people that Nami and Chopper them supposed to fight in the end is equivalent to Marco, Katakuri, and Queen them?
We don't know who they're gonna fight. That's the thing. Nami and Chopper's final fights in the story, like, might just be armies of people.
No. I'm
like,
talking about
it might not be in like a certain person.
I'm talking about on the Blackbeard pirate crew when they fight each other.
Who says?
No, listen.
I'll be dead ass with you. I'll be dead ass with you, Wing. I'll be dead with you. By the end of the story, we're probably gonna get Chopper versus Doc Q. I think by the end of the story, Chopper's peak might be like 2nd commander level.
Oh, okay, that's cool if you believe that. All I'm saying is, y'all need to stop gassing these people up to high heaven, talking about Aokiji for his commanders.
That is the most dangerous question I've ever seen.
I asked you, Garp. I asked you, Garp. I know, but I'm asking it.
It is no way on God's green earth.
These Zoro people are about to fight
Vasco Shot, Doc Q, and stronger them, and San Juan Wolf Week has is on par with people like King, Queen, and Jack. Smoothie Katakuri and Cracker them. Marco, Jozu, and Ace. Come on, bro. Y'all gotta stop this.
Wing. I'm agreeing with you. I've always said that I think people are buffing the Straw Hats too much as an entirety. I think, like every other crew, the Straw Hats are going to be, like, from the top down, they're going to be top heavy. Luffy's obviously going to be on the same level as Roger.
What's top heavy exactly? Because again, keep in mind that you have characters like Jinbei and their crew. You have Yamato coming out somewhere in the future. You already have Zoro and Sanji and Luffy. So you have 5 characters right now that are probably going to be busted in the future.
I'm not going to include Yamato in this conversation because she's not a part of the crew at the moment. But anyway, the way it looks, like if you look at other crews, by the end of the series, realistically, because I don't think everyone is going to be, top 10 by the end of the story. Like, the top 9 is not going to be all 10 Straw Hats. That's not going to be the top 10 by the end of the story. But, like, realistically, you're going to have Luffy, who's probably going to be the same strength, if not stronger than Roger, whatever that means. Zoro, end of series Zoro might still be weaker than next Kaido. No. He might be on par with him. He might be able to fight Kaido the same way Luffy did when he first went Gear 5 by the end of the story. But I don't think that Zoro is going to necessarily... let me put it this way. He doesn't have to be stronger than Kaido. He could be on the same level as Kaido by the end of the story, and that would still make him top 10 in the verse.
Okay, but again, like I removed the admirals from the equation. Whether it's going to be now or later on Elbaf, is it possible that Zoro's going to be stronger than Garp on full Lead Island?
No, because I think Garp is stronger than... I have Garp on the same level as Kizaru.
See you. Bye-bye.